So, okay, also create some space by removing this one here. All right. So this was last time's. I think that was a Saturday when we did the first task. Anyone with a question about this, what we did last time? This is the outcome. I went ahead to remove the padding, which was on this side, and then specifying the padding for the individual views. I think unless you have a question about our last time's implementation. Besides that, no question, right? Besides that, we can go right into our today's work. Now, what I'll do is to try to first open that video, the video which has what we have to do today, and see what we have to implement. Oh, it's taking too long to open. Okay, this is the video of what you're supposed to do today. And this one is also already available on our GitHub. So that's the video of what you're supposed to do. I'll close this one. And now what I'll do, I have this picture here. I usually like to put my references inside Android Studio. I'll bring this one right in here to use it as a reference. So it's over here. Now I'll go ahead to split my window vertically so that I have this picture one side and also my other editor view on one side. Now, when you realize that when you look at this, it still has this layout code lab as the title. However, we don't need that one anymore. So we'll begin by changing this one right away. How do we change that one? The title. We shall go to our string resources, and when you open the string resources, you look at the top. There's a string resource named app name, and the name which appears here is the same name that appears in the app bar. So we shall start by removing this one and changing it to another name. We want our app to now, from now onwards, we want it to show another name, which is Android Workshop. So from now onwards, our app will be showing this name instead of Layout Code Lab. I'm not gonna be performing a lot of builds and runs in between, so that we can save time in our development. After that, I realized that in that picture you've already seen, or the one which is besides here, the one which is, let me first remove this one, you don't need it at this moment. When you look at this picture, I don't know whether it's very visible to you over there. I think it is, right? When you look at this picture, we have these buttons down here, and what these arrows mean is when you click this button, what happens? We can begin with this button, which is on the leftmost button, and then we shall go to the right one. When you click on this leftmost button, you have to open another activity over here. The good thing is Teddy has already explained this one very well, and I'm sure that if you attended that meeting, you already know what an intent is. What we're going to do is, when the user clicks this button of join workshop, we shall open another activity with an intent, and the activity will display this content. And after that, when the user clicks the join button again, we shall open another activity which displays the names of the people who are attending the workshop at this moment. We're not doing anything fancy at this moment. However, I think by starting from the next task, we shall be going ahead to make our app do a little bit more interesting things than it is doing right now. So without doing a lot of talking, I've already shown you that to start with, we have two activities over here. So I'll go ahead to create these activities first, two of them. One is join workshop activity, another is workshop attendance activity. So how do you create an activity? Of course, I think you know from yesterday, from that time, the last meeting, which was Saturday, you know that an activity basically is a screen. I wouldn't like to go into the explanation of this because I hope you already know about it from Tadio's meeting, Tadio's session. So to create a new activity, what I'll do is to come just here at my Java folder. We have my Java, and then I'll right click on that and then say new. What I want to do is to create an activity, come right down here, and I want it to be an empty activity. Now, one of the activities is workshop attendance, or I'll simply say attendance activity. We can be doing this one together as you're coding on my computer. As I'm coding on my computer, you can be coding on your computer as well. Now, we've given it a name, and this will be the name of this layout. We don't want to be a launch activity, and the language is Java. So that's all we need for that. I'll click finish, and that will be created for me. And also, now that is the workshop attendance. We also have another one here, which is the join workshop activity. Let us create that one as well. New activity, empty one. Join. Join workshop. Join workshop activity. We don't want it to be a launcher, so we shall leave all the left unchecked. However, to ensure that we are maintaining the same programming language, this one should be selected as Java. So I'll click finish there. Great. So we have those two activities in here. They have been created for us. So I usually like to begin with first of all, when you look at the layouts, we also have two other layouts which have been added for us. When you just click this button here of join workshop, we shall go to this join workshop activity, right? So let us have a look at what's inside here. It's a constraint layout. I'm not a very friend of constraint layouts. I know they are very easy and they simplify stuff, but I like to do it mechanically most of the time, or sometimes actually, not most of the time. So I'll turn this one to a linear layout. Again, I find the linear layout very easy. If you are trying to if you're a beginner and you're trying to start with Android development, I advise you to make good use of the linear layout and relative layout. They are very easy to build things up. So as a test, to ensure that this one is working fine, I'll simply create here a text real quick, and I'll say that this is a what? This is the join workshop. Actually, why don't I just use this one as the title, which is which you have here. Let me simply write this one as the title we shall use here. Join workshop. So it means that if we have set up things really well, when we open this activity, is supposed to show the join workshop word here. And also we shall go to this other one, and what you can do is to copy all this and bring it inside here, and say now when we click on that one, we are gonna say different. We are gonna show a different word, which is workshop attendance. Attendance. Now within the layout, it's very necessary to always specify the orientation. Usually with the outermost one, we usually prefer to have a vertical orientation because we are going to have other views cascaded with other views which are already available. So we shall have this one as a vertical orientation, and we shall also do the same inside here. Great. So already set up these ones, and we already set up these ones, and someone saying something. And when you go inside here, the activities already created. We already have they extend the app compactivity because when we're creating this app, we made it to use the backward backward. We accepted our project to use the old library such that our app can run on all the devices. That's why we have this app compact activity being extended. Now, what this one does on create, it will create this activity and using this layout. So basically, this is already here for us. As long as our intent, we are throwing it really well, it's supposed to open this other screen. So we don't have to change this anything here for this moment. Now, to ensure that we are able to open those screens, we shall go back to what we did on the first day, on Saturday, when we are doing the task one. We have two buttons here, which are supposed to be clicked. We have two buttons here, which are supposed to be clicked. And one of them is join workshop. We are first concentrating on the leftmost one, and then we shall go to the one for inviting. Now, for joining workshop, again, Ted was explained about the different ways of handling events, click events, one in the XML and another in Java. I found one in XML very simple. You don't have to write a lot of listeners. You simply specify the on-click attribute and you specify the function which you want to be called in the Java function. Now, I'm going to name my function join workshop. So this function is the one which is supposed to be called when the user clicks this button. Again, to save time, I won't wait to go to this other button. I'll simply copy this and say when the user clicks the invite button, let us open another method, which is invite friend. Now, these methods are not yet available. What we need to do, again, of course, if you see this bulb over here, it tells you that create this method in the main activity because it's not yet available, right? And that's why I like this IDE. It simplifies stuff. So we shall simply click that, and that method will be created for us over here within the main activity. Now, what do we want to do when this method is what? What do we want to do when this button is clicked? We want to call this method. And when we call this method, what do we want to do inside here? We simply want to call the activity that displays the screen. That activity, how do you create that activity? How do you call that activity? We simply use an intent, and we shall say intent. I'll name it intent. Say new intent. Again, this was also taught by Thaddeus yesterday, so I'm really sure that you understand what I'm doing. Now, usually in the intent, we shall pass two arguments or parameters, and the first one is where we are coming from. The second one is where we're going to. That is simply speaking. However, technically speaking, the first one is the context. I usually prefer using get application context to get the context of the application. And the next one is where we are going to. Where do you want to go to? When you click that button, the join workshop button, we want to go to the join workshop activity. And it has a name of join workshop activity. So we shall simply put here join workshop activity dot class. Like this. Now, to test that one real quick, we can run this one and see if when we click that button, we can go there. Okay. I've not started the activity. After creating this intent, you have to go ahead to call start activity and passing to it the intent you've created. As that one is building, I'll go back to my main activity over here, and I'll also extract this other function, create it inside here. And now for this other function, I'll copy this. So I'll copy this content over here. But now this time around, when this other button is clicked, you want to go to the other activity, which is attendance activity dot class. So it's installing now. So this one up running now. When we open and as we open, having that title join workshop as we see been rendered because we started the build before we added that content. It's supposed to respond the same way. Now, when you go back here into the main activity, when we go back to the main activity, so we have that intent being started properly. However, you realize that we have this content over here, looks like this. Let us first add that one real quick. Let us first add that one. Let us first design this layout real quick so that we can go to the next thing. Now, when you look at this layout, it has this name this side and the mooncake as the name of the person on the other side, student number, and this number on the other side. Now, what we can do is to simply go back here. Realize that when we created this layout on Saturday, we created a similar thing. We had venue, space in between, and then that side. So we can look for that layout where exactly we had it and simply copy it and make use of it such that we don't have to write everything from scratch again. I'll copy this, which is very similar to what we're gonna do there, and I'll bring it to, it is during workshop, right? I'll bring it over here, move this one, I'll put it below here. And now this side, instead of having this, we are supposed to have name. And then here we're supposed to have student number. Student number. Not here actually. Here we're supposed to have the name of that guy. The guy is called Mooncake. It's a coincidence. It's called Mooncake when we're having the chunji. I'll copy this one as well and also paste it down over here. And now this is the student number. I shall type. This guy came in 2020. That's his student number. And then here we shall change this one to student number. So I have this one, and now realize that this one is centered and it's actually a little bit bold. How to ensure that it's centered and a little bit bold? We shall first of all give it a text size of say text size. Let's give it about 25 scaled independent pixels, and also make its gravity center such that, because now when you look in our AVD here, it is on one side of the screen. So we shall say let's give it a gravity of center. After centering it, I think this one's fine. We'll make it big and also centered. And also we can go ahead to specify some padding for it. Not necessary. Doesn't really seem very padded. Maybe what we can do for this other layout here, we can give it a margin from the top such that, because now when we run this one to be very near to this other title, to ensure that it's not very near the title, we can give it a margin from the top of about 24 density independent pixels. I think that's good enough. And then also realize that we have a button down here. Yes, first go ahead to create that one real quick. We have a button over here, and we shall say let it wrap content, and give it a text of join now. Text of join now. And also give it a margin from the top, because it has some space over there, right? So we shall simply give it margin from top of about 52 density independent pixels. After that, you realize also centered, so we can give it a layout gravity of center. I think that's good enough. So we can first run this one real quick to see how it looks. It's done. Okay, let me open this one. And now, when you click join, you have this, which is very near to this. However, this one looks like there is no space in between. So to create that, this one is not centered. Okay, it's supposed to be centered. Oh, width is supposed to match parent so that you have enough space to make it really centered. Now, when you run again, it will be centered. I'm not going to run, but in later builds, you see that it will be really centered. Now, to ensure that this one looks fine, we can go ahead to specify some padding here on these linear layers which are holding this text. Specify padding of about 8 density independent pixels. Copy this and paste it down over here. So we can consider this one a done deal. However, when you click this button, you don't do anything, but when you click it, you go to another activity over here. So what we shall do, we shall come to this button here and say on click, open the tenants. Okay, this is join now. Let's name it join now. Let's name it join now. Now, another thing which is very important for us to take care of is, okay, let's first create this method here. Join now. Create the join now in the workshop. Okay, this is the join now here. Again, that you don't have to type content every now and then which I've written. What we want to do is to only start the intent. So I'll simply come and copy that and I paste it over here. And then now at this time round, I want to open the attendance activity, attendance activity.class. I think we made a mistake when we created the invite friend. We don't have to call this intent. Here we are going to preserve this for another activity. It's not this other activity one we are calling. So now this one is also done. So after the build, when we click the join button, it will call us this other activity, which has this layout over here. However, when you look at this layout, it has a list view, and this list view already sent it to the coding challenge. This is the workshop attendance list you saw over there. It has all of these names. And how are we going to deal with that one? We shall first put those names within the string resource such that we can use the list view to get those names added onto the layout. How do that? First of all, we're going to create a string array, and then we are going to name it attendance. Was that? Now inside here, we are going to get those names and paste them in. How would we paste those names inside? I'll copy them, all of them. Please. You can see the list of the names, right? Okay, so I'm copying that now and I'm gonna put it inside here. I'll simply paste it in. However, this is not enough. You're supposed to, when you create a string array, each entry is supposed to be inside its own tag of an item, a tag named item. So what we shall do is to enclose all of these ones inside their own, inside what? This kind of item, this kind of item, and then you close it. So each of these entries is supposed to be inside that. I won't be typing one by one. I'll select all of these ones, the beginning, and click item. Close that. All of them now. So I have all of these ones in. Now what we shall do, we shall come to the attendance activity, attendance activity, and also I realize that this one is not centered, but we want it centered, so we shall come here and copy what we did for this one and simply paste it inside here. This one is supposed to be match parent, and also this name is workshop partners. Okay, no problem with that. Now to display this list view, I'm gonna make use of the list view layout, the list view layout, and I'm gonna make its width match parent, height, wrap content. Really, wrap content? Okay, we shall see that how that one goes. And now I'll close it. Now, to be able to display that data inside the list view, we have to specify another attribute, which is entries. And the entries is none other than a string array. It's a string array we named it attendance. This array we named attendance. So this array, these guys will be displayed over here. So I think that's good. Let us first run that one, and as it's building, we shall jump right in onto the other button, which is the invite button. When you click the invite button, we open another activity over here, and this is how it looks like. Let us first develop that one real quick. But before we develop it, we begin by creating a new activity, which will be able to display that content. I want to make it empty and give it a name of invite. Give it a name of invite friend. Invite friend activity. Invite friend activity. I click OK. Click OK. So now the invite friend activity has been created for us, and we also have its layout. Let's begin with its layout. Now when you look at this layout, it's also having that constraint. Let us first this one. When you click the join, we go to this one. When you click join now, we get this list over here, which is exactly what we wanted. When you look over here, we have that. But now there's no space over here. What we shall do in the next build, we shall see that one next build. What we shall do is to create some padding for this one. Let us first do that one real quick. Attendance, we shall create a padding for the other text view of about 8 density independent pixels, such that it is padded up and down, so that we create that space down here. So we can consider this one a done deal as well. So we go back. This left side is done. Now we're on the right side. Let's first develop this layout real quick. Now this layout is also not so different from the other layouts, so I can copy this and first make use of it. Attendance, invite friends. This over here, and now the context is invite friends activity. So the title is invite friend. Okay, let's take this question. Title is invite friend. That is invite friend, and now we have these other views over here, and they are also very similar to what we've already done. So I'll come back to where should I pick that one. I think I should pick it from join workshop. Yeah, we'll have this linear layout. Copy one of them so that I can make use of it. It's very similar. I mean, right? Okay. Yeah, I mean, the invite friends. We don't have this here. I'll remove that one and create this other. Now, this one will have the name. First of all, you have the name. The name is okay. And also, we need now a contact. So I'll copy this up to here. First, put this one orderly. Copy this up to here and paste it down here. which is over here. And then this one is not supposed to be name anymore. It's contact now. And the contact, you shall put a fake contact. Right now we are hard coding all this content, but in the coming coding task, we shall have to have this content being entered by the user, and then we shall get it from our code and then use it to call the implicit intents. Now we also have here the email, and that's the email with candy at ubyte.com. After that, we have some buttons down here. Now these buttons are housed by a linear layout, which is of vertical orientation. Of course, you can achieve them using another method, which you prefer. But again, I find this one very easy. Now, because now it seems like these buttons are taking on most of the space, so we shall give them a height of 0 and instead specify their weight as 1, such that they occupy all the remaining space after the other components have taken space. So I will specify its weight as 1, and then also specify the orientation as vertical. And then after that, I can close this. Now these ones are simply buttons, so let us create those ones real quick. Button, and then wrap content, and also now let me close this one. Add the text. Text is invite by email. It's the first one. Invite by email. Invite by email. Copy this. There are 3 of them. 2, 3. Invite by email. This one invite by SMS. Another one is invite by call. So we have these ones here. Let us build one more time and see how that one looks. However, before we build that one, as it's building, let us come back here at invite friends. In order to be able to call this activity, we have to create that intent. And now this intent is supposed to go to invite. First uncomment this one. So I'm supposed to go to invite friends dot invite friend. Invite friends activity. So let's finish running. Let's test that. When you click join workshop, so now they are real spaced well. When you click join now, this one also has space, just as it appeared in the original content. So this side is done. You go back. Now when you click invite friend, nothing is happening. That's what we're working on now. We want to open this invite friends activity. Now when you open it, you shall have this layout being displayed over here. This layout being displayed. Now, as this one is running, let us also specify the onCreate. Let us specify the onCreate attribute for these buttons over here, such that we can start those intents. Okay, now this is how it is. This is how it appears here. It doesn't look very nice. These buttons are this side. These spaces are too big. Let's first reduce those spaces by saying this one be 4 DPs instead of 8. Then before. Now to center these buttons, what we shall do is we shall simply center these buttons. One way of centering them is to center this layout. Coming here and saying layout gravity. Let's say this layout gravity is center. I hope this one will help us center the buttons. We shall check that one later. Now, what we want to do is to say on click of this button, go to invite by email, create that method, invite by email. So we shall call that method in our Java code. Copy this, paste it down over here. Now we are inviting by SMS, and then here we shall invite by what? By call. Invite by call. Now they are red because those methods are not available. we shall make use of this inbuilt functionality to help us create those methods real quick. And now this one as well. Okay, so we have these methods inside the invite friends activity. Now what do we want to do when these methods are clicked? What we want to do when these methods are clicked, we want to open now what we've been doing, navigating between the screens, what we've been doing is calling what we call explicit intents. But now we want to call implicit intents, which are intents trapped by apps other than our own apps. This ones are still facing this side. Now I want to create another intent which is trapped by the activities which are outside our app. So that's what we're going to do inside here. However, before that, let us first put this button right. The layout activity, my friends. The buttons, where are those buttons? Okay, they're down here. Layout, gravity, center, didn't center them. Also specify the gravity just for the layout center. If that one doesn't work as well, then it means that we have to go ahead to specify the gravity for the individual gravity for the individual buttons. But I think it will work really. Gravity center will center them in between inside there. Now let us first not waste time there. Let us go inside here. Now we need to create the implicit intents. The implicit intents are also created very similar to the other intents. Now when it is invite call, we shall create the new intent here and say new intent. Now I'd open the browser. I wanted to show you something. The documentation over here. You can see the documentation, right? The common intents. If you can see that one, please send an acknowledgement. If you can view the browser, common intents in the web browser here. Can you please? Okay. Now, when you search for, okay, no need for searching. If you are inside here and try to search for, there's a very common action intents. Implicit intents need what we call an action. You need to specify an action for them. And now there's a very common action, which is action view. Now this action view is very unique. I like it. It can handle almost anything you give to it without much hassle. That's why I love it. And it's what we're going to use for actually all of these. Okay, this is action view. Here they say that this displays the data to the user. So all we're going to be doing is to display the SMS, display the email the user is supposed to send, and then display the contact the user is supposed to call on. So this one is very important for us. This is the most common action performed. This is the most common action performed in the data. So this is the generic action you can use on a piece of the data to get the most reasonable thing to occur. So that's why I like this action view. So it's what we're going to be using mostly in our, what we're going to be using mostly to create the intents we want to create. So I'll close this one, and inside here I'll say intent action view, and then comma. I want to go to, I'm going to use the URI inform resource identifier pass. I know you already started this, so I don't have to go over it again. Now to invite by call, you have to specify a stream of data, and now let's simply tell. Now if you wanted to specify the contact you want to call to, you would also add it in front of this colony, but I'm not going to specify that. We shall do that one in our next task. So I'll go ahead to start this activity, to start this intent by calling start activity and passing the intent. However, you must realize that sometimes you may start this intent when the application you want to call to handle it is not available. So what you do is you first call a very important method which is called resolve. It's called resolve intent, right? Resolve. What's the name of that method? I'm forgetting. Let me check the documentation. I think it is resolve intent or something to ensure that things work properly. Let me check here. Resolve. resolve intent. Also, I can look at some of the examples down here. Let me just check that one. I think in the email, you have that one specified properly. Come to find email. Email down here. Yeah. We saw intent.resolve. Okay, I'll simply copy all of this and paste it down there in my Android Studio. So I'll simply copy all of this. It has been written for us. Then I have to import that package manager. Get package manager. Okay, so this one will work very well for us. Now another thing I will do is to copy all of this and paste it down here. Now for SMS, we shall simply put inside here an SMS, and then for email, we put a data stream which is mail to. Now these ones are available on documentation. You may say that where is Guy getting all these ones from? They are available in documentation if you read the Android dev documentation. So I run this one once more to the result on the AVD. Okay, let's open that. Invite friend. The buttons are well situated the way we wanted them. Now when you click invite by email, it does open this the way we wanted it to do, but it's not showing anything. Invite by SMS. Okay, invite by SMS not working. Okay, it does work. And also invite by call, it does open the implicit intent. So that was all for task 2. Unless you have a question, I would like to end here. And this solution will be uploaded on our GitHub. I advise you to finish the content yourself, or also make this one as a reference. At this moment, I would like to end my presentation here. Thanks very much. Let me invite Tagios to continue with today's presentation.